I lived on the block there for 3 years under a piece of fucking blue canvas, man. No running water, no electricity, no nothing, just under a blue canvas, man. It's a gateway to Sydney.
It's a sacred space.
It is historically a place where our people have gathered.
It's almost seen as the Mecca.
It's our Mount Zion, it's our Gaza Strip.
You can't put a monetary value on this sort of property.
You did not fail to impress me, weakened but still strong, controlled and outcast in your home, allowed to live but not belong.
If you go down to the block, you can see the new Redfern community centre. They can build that, but right next door is these grotty houses that our people have to live in. And so you often wonder where the priorities are at times in terms of housing for Aboriginal people.
The reason why the Maoris are in that predicament at the moment because they were very derelict. They must be over 100 years old. Spiritual wise, our people is really sort of lost and gone down the wrong track.
Organised crime of Sydney have been using Redfern as a washing machine for 20-something years. Since the drug-related issue came in the community, it just destroyed the community.
The poverty we're looking at is really an internal poverty. It's a poverty of the spirit. If you oppress a people for long enough, you can't expect their society to operate as optimally as ours does.
Gym is the cornerstone of our project here. Instead of the kids going onto the drug habit and what have you, we were offering an alternative, healthy lifestyle. The community centre, without doubt, is one of the best things that's happened in this community for a decade.
We've got Pemulwuy Park there, we've got places there for the kids to play in. There was a community garden there at one stage and that could be revitalised again.
It makes me feel so angry that we've treated you for years with so much disrespect.
It's time for change. It's time to really, refurbish the community. We're looking to redevelop the block again and really build good affordable housing for our people. I think our people are entitled to live in, the most luxurious apartment that, just like anybody else. The company is really trying to change the image of the place, give us self-esteem and respect back in themselves and the community.
The Aboriginal Housing Co-op has already designed a plan, and in fact it's so good it's even won awards.
It involves tourism for the area. It involves a full integration of Aboriginal in all the businesses here. We're looking at the establishment of an Aboriginal business college.
If it's run the way they're planning it, with no drugs and where people have to pay rent and abide by rules and regulations to make it a very happy community, I think it would be a good development and could be like a model community.
The block could bring as much as $1 billion in economic growth over the next 20 years to Redfern.
It's an investment in the future and an investment in the future of the Aboriginal people.
Leaders talk of fixing things, they tie the rope and pull some strings, put on their gloves and take you by the hand.
The position of the New South Wales government is a curious one because for the last 3 years through the Premier's Department we've worked very closely with government, and this sudden about face is a little bit strange to us.
They've got $41 million worth of land assets, and I think the government's saying, oh great, we'd like to get hold of that and we'll develop it and put up high-rise luxury units and send the Aboriginal people out to Mount Druitt or somewhere else.
So that's history being repeated again.
What it's proposed is ethnic cleansing.
If they can take the land away from the Aboriginal Housing Company, and the people, they can do it to any nationality.
The Minister for the Redfern Waterloo Authority would like half the houses here, and if not, all the Aboriginal people gone from Redfern.
What the government's being offered is more of the same, but actually made worse. More of the same, high concentration housing just on the block, which has failed to be able to be managed for the last 35 years.
People have often felt threatened, or especially non-Indigenous people, wouldn't go anywhere near the block.
One of the problems with white people is we're very patronising We say we care about the Aboriginal people, but quite often governments ignore their views and just roll over them.
I think one of the reasons why I'm not as excited as some is I see the block merely as a block of land. Others see it much more significant. And I do see it as, I suspect, an experiment that has failed.
We want to change the way we do the block, and there should be substantial non-residential uses on the block.
What they're trying to do now to us is stand over us with a big stick.
Well, you know, they'll do a 2-year plan, screw up Redfern, and we're left holding the baby. You take drugs and drinking out of an Aboriginal community, you add jobs and a little bit of prosperity with some good housing and good health, mate, you've got some of the best communities in the country.
All the government has to do is say, look, we endorse that plan, but it does need funding. I think it's about $26 million.
The government is not putting money into something that we think is unsustainable.
It seems to be a short-term response to the state that the finances of the state government is in. They're broke and they're looking for a cash cow. Redfern is that cash cow.
I've got copies of the plan, I've got copies of their business paper, their financial planning for the future, and I sense in talking to the government that they didn't understand it or appreciate it.
Fred Nile has not produced an answer. No one has been able to produce a persuasive argument that shows that just reconcentrating all this housing on the block is not going to repeat all the same mistakes.
The block is like a modern sacred site for Aboriginal people.
It's our ancestral home. It has been since day dot.
The government got to come back to the table and compromise with us.
Really, the solution is that government's just got to jump on board. It's that simple.
Let them have the opportunity to develop their own community on that land which was given to them as part of their land right.
This is very special for Aboriginal peoples. We don't have this anywhere else in Australia.
As long as we're all living, breathing and what have you, the block is staying.
It's time you open your eyes.